Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Let's talk about how building small, intentional habits can lead to transformational change in your life.
What's good? What's good? It's the Jeremy Hazelwood Show. What's good? What's good? Let's get ready to go. Let's go.
Welcome to the Jeremy Hazelwood Show. Plug in, turn it up.
Let's go.
Hey, hey. Welcome to the Jeremy Hazelwood Show. Push play, let it roll.
Let's go.
What's good? Welcome to my show. In 3, 2, 1.
Let's go.
Welcome to this episode where we are talking all about enacting discipline to unlock your purpose. Before we get started, make sure you tap, click, or smash the follow or subscribe button so that you'll be notified when each new episode drops. Now, this is season 2 of the Jeremy Hazelwood Show, where we're learning all about life transformation and personal development. Each season of my show covers a different topic. My goal is to spark curiosity, build community, inspire action, and deepen our understanding of the world around us. And today we're talking about discipline. Now, when you hear that word discipline, what do you mean? For me, at times, especially when I was younger, it reminded me of getting swats at school. Yes, I am from that era. They would have the paddle that had the holes in it. You know what I'm talking about. That long, like fraternity looking paddle that had the holes in it. So it was aerodynamic and it could hit that booty butt harder. So that's how I used to think of discipline, really as pain and a negative consequence for an action that I took. However, discipline, as defined by the Oxford Dictionary, is to train oneself to do something in a controlled and habitual way. Let me repeat that so you don't have to skip back 10 seconds. Discipline is to train oneself to do something in a controlled and habitual way. So as we talk about discipline and the power of discipline and enacting discipline to accomplish your purpose, I want you to think about it from that lens, not the lens of the old paddle that used to swat you if you were so blessed to have that kind of discipline growing up. I look at that, and then I also consider discipline as choosing long-term success over short-term comfort. So let that sink in for a minute as you think about discipline in your life. Discipline is a habit. It's not a personality trait. Anybody can do it. Discipline is rooted in choice, and it grows through practice. Let me share a story of discipline about my own life. When I was writing my book, Finding Your Edge, How to Unlock Your Talent and Purpose, there were so many things in my head that kept me from finishing my book because I actually wrote it and set it down for several years. But the things that would go on in my head was, why would people care? Who am I to give this advice? There are so many self-help or life transformation gurus and smart people out there. Why does my book matter? Why should I even put a book out if you can get a similar message from somebody else? And in the same note, even thinking about my podcast, like, why should I even start a podcast when there are so many other podcasts that exist? And there's a lot of podcasts that talk about similar topics as what I talk about. Stay with me here because this is leading to discipline. But these things that I was talking myself out of and discounting myself of. And one thing that I landed on, and even talking to like friends and family who were able to hype me up and remind me of who the heck I am, it's because I am one of one. You are one of one. Not everybody can relate to the experience of the popular thought leaders in my space. And their voice is not my voice, and their literal voice is not my voice. Sometimes you lose somebody because they don't like the sound of your voice. Other people, there's just something about that speaker or that thought leader that rubs them the wrong way, or the experience is not relatable. And what I learned from this is that discipline is also consistently overcoming the negative thoughts in my mind. Every day, I had to overcome a mental obstacle of self-doubt and give myself a reason to continue what I started. Have you started something and put it down because you let the negative voices in your head or someone said something about you negatively just talk you out of what your goal and your dream and what could be your purpose is? That is the mental battle. And don't think that is not a part of discipline. Discipline is consistently, every day, choosing you, choosing your goals, choosing your life, choosing your purpose over everything else, even over your own negative self-thought. The key was to remember what my motivations were and to remember my purpose. And these were daily reminders, hourly reminders. I still have reminders that pop up on my phone throughout the day to this day. It could be physical reminders for you. Maybe it's Post-it notes that you need posted on your desk or your mirror or doors or somewhere that you're going to see them constantly reminding you of who you are and why what you are doing matters, why your life matters, why your goals matter, and why your purpose matters. One question to ask yourself when it comes to enacting discipline is, what would my life look like if I go after X task to accomplish my goals? And I guess on the flip side, you could ask yourself, what would it look like if I don't do X task? And this is really a differentiator which can cause you to take that action, reminding yourself what your life could look like if you follow that path of purpose and enable that discipline. And if you don't do that task, you pretty much know what that's going to look like. It's going to be status quo, what it's always been, what it is right now. So choosing the future state of you over where you are right now. And when I was writing my book, to take it back to my story, Finding Your Edge, How to Unlock Your Talent and Purpose, the first draft that I wrote, I was getting close to the end of it. And I was like, I really want to finish this book by a specific date. So what that meant was I was setting my alarm to 4:01 a.m. Yeah, I'm weird like that. Like I have this thing about waking up on multiples of fives. I don't know why. It's if I get up at a 0, I feel like I could have slept a couple minutes longer. If I get up at a 5, sometimes I feel I slept too late. It's one of my weird quirks. That's another podcast, another time. But getting up at 4:01 a.m. every single morning before I drove to work. This is before I had my own company. And my drive to this job was over an hour. So I would get up at 4:01 a.m. in the morning, Monday through Friday, and work on my book for 2 hours. So the final 6 weeks of my book, you're looking at 6 consecutive weeks of getting up 4:01 in the morning, working on this book for 2 hours. And this time for me was very sacred. At first, it was a little difficult, of course, because I have never gotten up that early consistently in my life, unless I'm catching like a red-eye flight or maybe traveling with the family on vacation or something like that, but not just because it's a Monday or Tuesday. But what I found was after doing this several days, there was so much stillness and peace during that time of day. I was just up all by myself. The house was quiet. There were 0 distractions, and I could go down and just unlock so much thought and had so much clarity in the morning. Like, it was amazing to be able to do that. And I was able to finish that first draft of my book, and I felt really good about what I had written. And it came to a point where I began to look forward to waking up at 4:01 a.m. every day. Now, that's not something that I've carried over into my life now, but what that did teach me is if I really needed to buckle down and do something, I've done it before and I can do it again. And I think that's with life. You cross these circumstances where when you're accomplishing or going after a task, when it seems tough, you have to reflect on the past and other battles and goals and things that you've accomplished that you've already done in your past. The blueprint is there. This is just a new task, and you will apply and you remember who you are, and that gives you the strength and the confidence to go after whatever that goal is now. So one thing I'd like to reference is, as I was going on this journey of discipline, in Og Mandino's book, The Greatest Salesman That Ever Lived. This is actually a book that my mother gave to me, and it's one of the most powerful books that I've read, and it's not a long book, but it's extremely powerful. One of the things that Og said in his book is, never has there been a map, however carefully executed and detailed to scale, which has carried its owner over even 1 inch of ground. And that's like, the mind-blowing. Never has there been a map, however carefully executed to detail and scale, which has carried its owner over even 1 inch of ground. What does that mean? You can have all of the plans laid, but if you don't take action and do something, you will not be able to achieve anything. So that's why even in my book, Finding Your Edge, I talk about enacting discipline is really the last step. I talk about the foundational pieces to the EDGE model that I've covered in this season of the podcast: eliminating distractions, discovering yourself, generating goals, and then enacting discipline. It's like all the work that you've done, eliminating these distractions, discovering yourself, learning who you are, creating these goals, all of that means nothing. It's exactly like drawing up this map, but not taking any steps across it. So the enacting discipline piece is really where you get to unlock what your purpose is, living your life. Within this book, Og Mandino also states that action is the food and drink that will nourish my success. Action is the food and drink that will nourish my success. When you think about your future, when you think about enacting discipline, it is the action that is going to provide that for you. You can't do anything. There is no discipline without action. There is no unlocking your talent and purpose without action. It's so crucial to being able to really live that life that you were meant to live and the life that you were designed for. Another story, back when I was in undergrad, I minored in music industry, and I had a professor that came in one day, didn't really speak to the class, just came in and wrote on the board BBE in huge letters. These letters were probably 2.5, 3 feet tall, BBE. And he asked the class, okay, what do you think this means? And everybody was raising their hand, taking a crack at it. Nobody got it right. And so finally he said, BBE means be bold every day. And then he talked about how it related to music promotion at radio stations. This used to be a job of his previously before he was a professor. And what he explained is, as a music promotion person for a record label, every Tuesday you're going in and you're in a lobby at radio stations with a lot of other music promotions people from other record labels. And everybody's goal in that waiting room is to meet with the music director and get one song played from an artist that they're promoting. So how this works is, if you do not get your song placed on the radio that week, that's it. You will never have that shot again. You won't be able to pitch that song again. You won't have a chance to get that song placed again. It will never happen again. And of course, if your artist's song does not get on the radio, that can impact record sales. It can impact revenue to the record label. And as a music promotions person, it could impact your job. In the music promotions world, and I don't know if it's still like this now, but I would assume it still is, he would say we have a phrase, there is no next week in promotions. And I would challenge you, there is no next week with your goals. There is no next week with discipline. Do something about it today. Make sure that you're going after your goals feverishly and furiously today. I also talk about, when it comes to discipline, yes, you have to be consistent. Consistent does not mean every single day, because you could burn yourself out. If you're running so hard every single day, I've got to get up, I've got to move, I've got to do something. You can do that for a short period of time, but it is not sustainable. So you do need to take those breaks, and you do need to make sure if you're not feeling it that day, it's okay. Give yourself some rest, give yourself some grace, but you do need to pick that back up. The key is consistency. Again, action is going to be what makes that discipline be totally unlocked in your life. Part of discipline is choosing to do things that are uncomfortable consistently until they are natural. So these things, think about even like lifting weights, for example. It's uncomfortable to go and increase the amount of weight that you're lifting, but you do that enough, it becomes natural and you're not challenged by it anymore. But you can't get there unless you have the discipline to challenge yourself. And then once it does seem natural, you stretch yourself some more and you continue to improve. So we've come to the part of our podcast where I ask you 3 reflective questions. This follows the format of my book, Finding Your Edge. At the end of each chapter, I ask reflective questions to help you learn and grow. The 3 questions this week are, what's one area of your life where you need greater discipline? And the second question is, how will staying disciplined in this area help you achieve your goals? And the third question, what does be bold every day mean to you? So take time to write these down. You can do this now or rewind when you have time, go back and listen to it. I do recommend keeping a journal as you go through, especially this season of the podcast. We're doing a lot of work on ourselves. Pair it with my book, Finding Your Edge, because it's a great companion for the book and the podcast. They go great together. So that's all we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to the Jeremy Hazelwood Show. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to follow or subscribe so that you're always up to date when the latest episode drops. Leave comments, leave reviews. We need reviews so other people can discover this podcast as well if you found it helpful. So until next time, keep following your dreams to find your purpose.